I do believe the next move is up because I do think we're going to get closer to the election and Powell's going to want to cut rates. You don't have that much time. So we're seeing this debt to GDP spiral. Democrats hate crypto, then Republicans must like it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, we need both sides. Middle class, working class Americans are getting kicked in the proverbial knees. 85 to 90 million Americans now own crypto.
Oh, wow.
All the Bitcoin maximalists are single issue voters. I mean, there are a lot of single issue crypto voters. That's 10 million voters, mostly young.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing, Democrats? Don't be idiots.
Novogratz begins by highlighting a noteworthy shift in the perception of cryptocurrency among institutional investors. The approval and adoption of crypto ETFs exchange-traded funds have played a crucial role in this transformation. This development has signaled to many that crypto is now a legitimate industry. As Novogratz puts it, there's been a slight psychic shift, a psychological shift amongst institutional investors in that this is now an industry. Novogratz points out that the market's activity and revenue are still heavily correlated with Bitcoin's performance. He notes, Bitcoin goes up, other crypto goes up, your staking revenue goes up, your asset management revenue goes up, your trading volumes pick up. This intrinsic link means that as Bitcoin's price fluctuates, so too does the broader crypto market.
Something really significant happened in the last 6 to 9 months, and that is with the adoption of the ETF, there's been a psychic shift, a psychological shift amongst institutional investors in that this is now an industry. And, well, we all thought it was an industry for a long period of time.
Yeah.
You know, people are lending us money unsecured. We've got phones ringing off the hook with potential partnerships. Every big institution is figuring out what tokenization is going to mean to them. And so I have more confidence today than any time in the last 10 years of being in crypto that in 12 months and in 24 months, more institutions will be engaged in this space and the space will be bigger. That doesn't mean the price goes up every month or every quarter. Right? We started this quarter at 73,000. Today we're at 65,000 6 weeks in. And for all of our businesses, for Galaxy's business and for everyone else's business in this space, unlike most businesses outside of crypto, the activity level, the revenue, the excitement is very correlated to one asset, right? Bitcoin goes up, other crypto goes up, your staking revenue goes up, your asset management revenue goes up, your trading volumes pick up. And so we are still going to be correlated to the volatility and direction of the corn. And so we pray every night that Bitcoin goes higher. In the last few days, you've seen fixed income rally, cryptos take off again. We were at 57, then 61, and now we're at 65. Gold making record highs, silver making record highs, copper making record highs. And so there is or at least local highs, gold record highs.
Silver doing well. I mean, a lot of the commodities. So
there's a resurgence of the, oh my God, the economy's slowing down narrative, which will be helpful. Like I said yesterday, I don't think Bitcoin takes out the old high, the 73,000 high, unless we get the Fed in action or we get some big regulatory breakthrough.
Yeah.
And those are both probably low delta. So that's why I think we're a bit of a range.
Yeah.
I said 65, 75. It's a pretty big range. I'm sorry, 55, 75.
It's a big range.
It's probably closer to 57, 73. Like we've probably put the low end, the high end right now until the next move. And I do believe the next move is up because I do think we're going to get closer to the election and Powell's going to want to cut rates. The crypto universe was small and there was less narratives, right? The narrative was the halving, and so that became really important.
Yeah.
Well, when there are other narratives, it's just part of the narrative.
Yeah.
Right? Halving's not as important anymore, right? What's important is we're in this adoption cycle. Why does crypto continue to have a high Sharpe ratio and is going from lower left to upper right? Because we have a macro environment we just talked about, right? With gold, silver.
Yeah.
So for hard assets, it's a very nice environment to be in. And we're still early in the adoption cycle. And we just pulled the giant lever, which was ETFs and the wealth channel And so you had the original excitement around it.
Yep.
And now it's going to be the Morgan Stanley, hi,
Yeah.
Mr. Jones. Have I talked to you about Bitcoin yet? Right? Bitcoin is always sold, not bought.
Yeah.
So you've got to orange pill somebody.
It's true.
And we just in the last month turned all the Morgan Stanley RIAs. If you look at from day one of the ETFs till today, and you took all those ETFs, what, they're 9?
Yeah, 11 actually. I think.
11.
Yeah.
The 11 ETFs, total volume versus volume on MicroStrategy and Marathon.
Yeah.
MicroStrategy and Marathon kicked its ass.
Yeah.
More volume. And I was like, he was driving me crazy. I was like, why? Because of the options.
Yeah.
All the Robin Hooders, all the Game Stoppers, all the day traders trade short-term options.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it creates a wacko volatility market, but it creates excitement and volume. Listen, the market itself, little market color, we trade 73, we trade 57, we bounce to 65, we go back to 60. We're consolidating here. People have gotten short.
Yeah.
And there have been a lot of call selling. So volatility is much lower than it was. Mm-hmm. Much lower, right?
Yeah.
It's down 30 vol handles. And people are short calls. And so if there was a bullish development, the Fed all of a sudden says, oh my God, like we just had CPI numbers today and bad retail sales, CPI on its way down, but still not nearly low enough for the Fed to feel good about cutting rates.
Well, finally not up month over month, right? I mean, that's positive.
But if the next CPI and PC come in lower and jobs are lower, the Fed's going to be cutting.
Yeah.
And if that happens in July, and people are still short these high strikes, then you'll see 73 get taken out and it'll be one of those parabolic moves. You're like, what happened?
Yeah, that's right.
Right, prices are set on the margin, and
Yeah.
it doesn't take that much money. Right. Well, the good thing about the halving is there's less supply every day.
Novogratz emphasizes that we are still early in the crypto adoption cycle. The introduction of ETFs has been a significant lever, integrating crypto into the wealth channels. This move is bringing crypto into the conversation among traditional financial advisors and their clients. He notes, Bitcoin is always sold, not bought. You got to orange pill somebody. Novogratz shares his recent engagements with U.S. senators and congressmen, discussing crypto regulation and the federal debt. The political landscape is complex, with both Democrats and Republicans having vested interests in the space. He critiques the current administration's handling of the federal budget and debt, pointing out that profligate spending could ironically benefit Bitcoin by undermining fiat currency stability. Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, comes under fire for her role in managing the deficit and manipulating the yield curve, which Novogratz argues creates a false sense of stability in the fixed income market.
2 days ago with 2 U.S. senators, one Republican in the office, one Republican, one Democrat. I spent an hour on the phone with a congressman yesterday. I'm having another meeting with a senator. And, I have a bunch of different interests.
Yeah.
Right now, I talk about 2 things, crypto regulation and the goddamn debt. And they're at odds with each other. If we had an administration, Biden or Trump, that addressed this 26% of GDP federal budget, which should be 20%, it would not be good for Bitcoin. And so having really crappy policymakers and profligate spenders and populists in Washington, great for my net worth. You don't have that much time. So we're seeing this debt to GDP spiral, right? If we took CBO's own estimates, which are always wildly conservative, in 20 years you get to 250% debt to GDP. That doesn't work. What's happening is really fascinating in that, so every country, let's just talk about the U.S., you have a central bank, ideally an independent central banker, so that's Jay Powell, and you have a treasury, which is a arm of the executive branch, right? And plays in unison with the Congress that set budgets and spend money, right? Congress has to spend the money. Janet Yellen is going to go down as the worst Treasury Secretary of my lifetime, which shocks me because she was a civil servant. She's a nice lady. She was a decent central bank, but she's become a political actor and saying nothing about running this giant deficit. All social projects that you might agree with, but with no counterbalance of cut. And so we're just spending more money than we have. And she is manipulating the yield curve with an invisible yield curve control, right? Issuing in the front, less in the back. And Powell is working in unison with her.
Yeah.
So there's this unholy alliance, which is creating a false sense of stability in the fixed income market, or a manufactured sense of stability in the fixed income market. But that release valve, you see it in gold, silver perfectly, and it should help Bitcoin a lot.
Yeah.
And equities. Like, you got to buy equities on every dip because that's where the release valve is.
Yeah.
And so we're going to keep nominal growth growing higher than the inflation rate. And inflation's not going to come back down as fast as people want it to. That helps you inflate away your debt.
Yeah.
But it's just a longer term bull case for stocks, real estate, Bitcoin, silver, gold, all these hard assets. Democrats hate crypto, then Republicans must like it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, we need both sides.
Yeah.
I go to D.C. more than I'd like to. And, you call it Richie Torres and Ro Khanna and even Hakeem Jeffries, who's neutral, who've gotten more neutral to positive. Like, we've got advocates on the Democrat side. Jake Auchincloss up in Massachusetts.
Wiley Nickel in North Carolina.
And plenty on the Republican side. I was on the phone with Tom Emmer yesterday. I love Tom Emmer.
Great guy. Yeah.
It's been Elizabeth Warren and a few people around her that what people don't understand about Washington is if you're a senator, there's bills on everything you've got to have an opinion on.
Yeah, it's true.
And so Senator Warren wields an unbelievable amount of power around our space right now because she's loud. She cares a lot about this.
She chooses to care a lot,
for reasons I don't understand. Right? Crypto should be bipartisan. It is in some ways libertarian, right? Freedom.
Sure.
It resonates with the libertarian side of Republicans. And it's some ways very progressive. Let's cut out the middleman.
Right. And also, like, no redlining. It doesn't care who you are. Everyone can have access.
And so,
it's totally very egalitarian in that sense.
We will get through this as a country. We'll get through this if you're a Democrat as a party. But right now, Trump is, he's a great politician. Like him or not. Middle class, working class Americans are getting kicked in the proverbial knees. 85 to 90 million Americans now own crypto.
Oh, wow.
I thought it was lower. I Googled it.
I thought it was about 50, but
I double-checked yesterday.
It doesn't surprise me, especially with ETFs now,
I double-checked before I got on the earnings call.
Let's go.
And so, because the ETF, you've got more and more people owning crypto. Right. Now, of that 80 million Americans, or let's say 55, let's make it the same as dogs.
Yeah.
Not all are single-issue voters. Quite frankly, very few are. But if it's 15%,
that's a lot.
You're a single-issue voter.
Oh, yeah.
All the Bitcoin maximalists are single-issue voters. I mean, there are a lot of single-issue crypto voters. That's 10 million voters, mostly young.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing, Democrats? Don't be idiots.
Novogratz observes that the economic narrative around a slowing economy is gaining traction. This environment, characterized by rising prices of hard assets like gold, silver, and copper, is conducive to Bitcoin's growth. However, he stresses that significant bullish movements in Bitcoin's price would likely depend on macroeconomic indicators such as CPI Consumer Price Index and employment data influencing Federal Reserve policy. One of the key takeaways from Novogratz's discussion is the need for bipartisan support in crypto regulation. He notes that while figures like Senator Elizabeth Warren have been vocal critics, there are also several advocates on both sides of the aisle. Crypto's appeal spans ideological lines, resonating with libertarian values of freedom and progressive ideals of egalitarian access. Novogratz underscores that more young Americans are becoming involved in crypto, with significant numbers potentially influencing voting patterns. He warns the Democratic Party against alienating these voters, suggesting that a more balanced approach to crypto could yield substantial political benefits. Please like and subscribe my channel.